bro, Michael Naera. Michael's been leading this kaupapa on behalf of all of us for a long time, and today he brings a kaupapa here. When I spoke with Michael about this, I said to him, this is a kaupapa that I know that is close to all of our hearts as iwi, and I'm sure that it will be well received today. Morena, tēnā koutou.
Kia ora. Tēnā tātou katoa. Thank you for allowing me to speak today. I am honoured and I am privileged to speak on behalf of the Global Indigenous Network Advisory Group. This international group was formulated from recommendations tabled at the World Indigenous Suicide Prevention Conference and Indigenous Youth Summit, and it was held in Rotorua in 2016. We have been charged with bringing effect to the Tūramarama Declaration, which is presented before you today, as well as subsequent recommendations. Mr. Chair, I would like to start by presenting the 4 recommendations, which are Recommendation 1, that the Iwi Chairs adopt the Tūramarama Declaration as a means for preventing Māori suicide prevention. Recommendation 2, that the Iwi Chairs support the development of a draft national Māori suicide prevention strategy, and in addition to that, that it is leveraged off the declaration itself. Recommendation 3, that the Iwi Chairs resource and or seek government support to develop and implement the national draft Māori suicide prevention strategy. Recommendation 4, that the Iwi Chairs resource and or seek government support to promote the declaration throughout the motu. This may also include taking the draft national suicide prevention strategy around the country. I have titled my presentation Lost Potential. To begin, I would like to ask each and every one of you, have you ever heard the sharp screams of a parent who discovered their loved one had died by suicide? Have you ever heard the screams of a dad, uncle, nephew, or brother who had to pull their loved one down from the rafters or try to wake them in frantic panic? Have you ever heard the screams of a parent taking their loved one onto the marae and losing their footing as the energy is zapped from their being? Have you ever heard the screams as their loved one is farewelled from the marae and into the urupa? Have you ever heard the screams of a parent watching their loved one being lowered into their final resting place? The scream is what I've experienced over the many years of attending tangi of suicide victims. It sounds like a screeching ruru or owl, and it feels like 1,000 razor cuts to your heart. To bring this to light, I would like to tell you a story. In 2011, we waited for the arrival of our boy at home mai Tawhiti Marae in Rotorua. The wharenui was filled with chatter and the outside grass area filling up quick. As our boy arrived to the marae, the hapu reshuffled and waited for the karanga. As the karanga whistled across the valley and the whānau drew near to the wharenui, that almighty scream came from a grieving mum. That scream that rippled through our soul as they brought our boy into the whare. We were wailing a different sort of wailing, as it reverberated across the marae onto Lake Rotuiti and up onto our sacred maunga of Matawhauira. The paipai wept in respect as they blew the hupe from their noses and wiped away the tears of despair. Over 3 long days, a mass haka broke out on the last day. Our boys, mates, and whānau bidding farewell to him in an emotional send-off. But that scream came through again, bringing us back to reality that this boy had died a tragic death. Hohepa I hipene, or Hohepa, as most people called him, died in 2011 to suicide. A boy who longed for his brother, Kahu, who had died almost 2 years earlier in a car accident. A car accident that Hepa was involved in as well, except Hepa survived and his brother didn't. Today, Hepa and Kahu's mum, Hini, is in the room today. The very person I talk of where she screamed across the marae in pain and agony. And we have Koro Te Ariki, who sits here as he farewelled his mokopuna and struggled to hold back the tears. They are here to support this kaupapa, along with all our support people on and off the stage. Hini wrote a book called The Tree of Life, A Mother's Grief. I recommend that everyone reads this book as we remove ourselves from the issue and try to coat it with logic. Honestly, this presentation is about Iwi taking responsibility for this issue. Why? Because Iwi are experiencing the aftermath of suicide on their communities. But it is not suicide solely, but our whānau are experiencing mental illness, sexual abuse, violence, drug abuse, unemployment, sexual identity discrimination and crisis, bullying, racism, poverty, incarceration, and poor health. As you see up on the board, the Ministry of Health report that the Lakes DHB had a death. But in Māoridom, these deaths belong to multiple whakapapa. We weep for those who were drastically taken from this world of extreme loneliness, worthlessness, helplessness, and pain, where our loved ones felt unable to talk to someone before they died of shame, fear, or being scared of judgmental attitudes, or told that you are weak and just toughen up. We mourn the loss of potential to suicide. Our people incarcerated in state care facilities such as SIFs, mental health services, youth justice facilities, prisons, or police cells are likely to die in state care as a result of suicide. That historical trauma still exists today as a product of colonisation and institutional racism. Our whānau carry the hurts of the past where they cannot heal because of secrecy, bringing shame on whānau, or being completely ostracised. Pain that maybe stems from sexual abuse, violence, child abuse, addictions, and being takatapuhi, subsequently leading to suicide or re-traumatisation of the whānau. I stand here today and ask our Iwi Chairs to stand up. In fact, I urge all of us to stand up and address this issue. Our people should be accepted as equal citizens in a world where inequality, inequity, disparities, and discrimination overshadow their life where the Maori or the life essence is extinguished and the potential lost. That we are treated as people, as not a number, a tick box, or a person who is like every other no-hoper, where help services are helpful and practices are not from Europe or America. That we are included and not excluded because of our iron book of rules and policy which don't meet our cultural needs. That we build healthy and safer communities to enable our children to flourish, which means removing the barriers that threaten or rape their will to live. It is our responsibility to learn and or receive the teachings handed down from our ancestors so that we can heal and uplift the spirit, so that our tūhunga are at the forefront alongside clinical pathways. As my kui, Hikapuhi Pōhepi, said, I can heal mate Maori, but I find it difficult to heal the diseases brought in by the Pākehā. It is time the government and global organisations stop infecting our people with non-Indigenous products and legislation by introducing things that are classed as progress in New Zealand, yet destroys the wairua of our people. We need to participate as Maori in a society that does not sideline us because of the colour of our skin. That there is a rethinking and a reframing of ideas as opposed to psychological pathways and mainstream approaches, because we are tangata whenua and this is our land and we are not visitors. Culture is suicide prevention and not an add-on to programs and ideas. We have a right to determine our pathway for preventing suicide. We have a responsibility of finding positive solutions to dealing with this issue that are culturally significant. For we have been doing it this way before the medical, psychological or mainstream research had populated our thinking. Mr. Chair and members of the forum, the Tūramarama Declaration provides this avenue as well as the recommended solutions for moving ahead. With that said, I would like this forum to consider the 4 recommendations which are before you today. To end, we should not want to hear the scream of a grieving parent or whānau, and if we do, we must ensure that we did everything in our power not to lose our whānau in the first place. Nō reira, tēnei ake te mihi kia koutou, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou katoa. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Hei takuranga tira mako tēnei te mihi ake kia koutou. Ko kōrero kua titia nei ki te manawa o tēnā o tata. Tēnei te tangi ki a rātou. Ko kitea ko tahi noi honei te huarahi, ko ia ko te whakamōpori. E no rā e te ranga tira ka whakapuaretia e koe. E nei kōrero ki mua i te whakaminenga o Ngātia Mana Aimu tēnei rā, tēnei te mihi. Tēnei te mihi, tēnei te mihi. Kare tu atu e te hoamo. Kei roto, i o tātou puka, te kauwhau kōrero, te declaration, e kōrero tiani. Ko tahi tonu rā e te pāpā, e te ariki. Ke whakāia mai rā e koa, ke unuhia te ingoa o te runanga o Ngāti Piki Ao Trust ki runga, ke waiho mai rā ko te ao Maori tēnei, te tautoko ake. Hei no, ka repane he kōrero i ko atu. Nā te ngā pāhia i tō mai ki Wainganui a tātou, mā Ngāti Apāno e nei hei tautoko, mā Ngāti Whātua hei tautoko. Hey, no. I don't think that there's any need for discussion or part-time. That we try to achieve these things within the parameters of the mahi that we do and the support that we can provide. And with the stories. So I'm going to put the recommendations all in one one recommendation. Nā Ngāti Apa, te Mōtini, nā Ngāti Whātua, te Tautoko. Tātou e whakaene ki te Mōtini, ki mai ai, e whakahiana, pamana. Me rura, kei a kuranga tira. Tēnei rā te mihi atu ki a koutou, po tō ia mai e koutou tēnei kaupapa ki te aruaro o ngā tia mana Iwi tēnei. Ko tautoko ni ake nei e tēnei hui, nō reira, i roto i te tangi o taku ngākau. I te kaupapa e wānanga tia nei e tātou. Kei ko nei ngā iwi katoa e pai nei ki wairanui a tātou, e kaha tautoko ana i tā koutou e whakahanga. O tira, ko unuhia maira, e nei i a koutou, ko pīkau nia maira e tātou katoa e te ao mao. Nō reira kei te pāpā e te riki, a tēnei te mihi atu. O tira koutou katoa, ko tō ia maira tēnei kaupapa, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou. Karongo te ao, kei te wānangananga te pō, kei te wānangananga te ao. Ko ia tēnei, ka whakamaua mai rā, ko te kaupapa nei, ki a noi rā ki runga ki te tarawhai. Na tīkina mai anō rā, ki te whakawhanake i te kaupapa nei, tūturu ōwhiti whakamaua ki a tīna. Tīna. Haumi e hui e. Tai ki. Te urata. Yeah, kuira. So Pāhi is going to try. Pāhi is going to endeavour to get a copy of the declaration here for tomorrow morning for those iwi that want to put their signatures to the declaration. The Tūrangaranga declaration. Tēnei tū. Can you show me what that is?